Everybody to the Global BA Stand-Up for today, September 1st, 2025, and it is our Labor Day here in the US and also in Canada. So thank you guys for joining on your holiday. There's so many other things you could be doing with your time, but you're spending it here with me, and I'm so happy that you're here. So I am on the live over here, and I'm also on the Google Meet. If you're on the live and you want to join the Google Meet so you can ask a question, you can go to karaleise.com, go to Global BA Stand Up. I think Joshua is in the call. He'll put it in the link, and then you can join over here so you can ask a question. All right, cool. So welcome again to this month's Global BA Stand Up. I wanted to say that September is a great month for those of you who are looking for a job. I think this is going to be much better than last month, mainly because over the summer, people were out, HR departments were out, people were on vacation, kids are out of school. So nobody was really there to make decisions about the jobs, right? But now I think now that we're in September, people are coming back to work and they're now looking at their portfolios and be like, okay, we need to get this thing done by the end of the year. We have all these projects, we have all these things to get done. Let's go hire for some BAs. And sometimes they may hire contract BAs just to finish the project, but it doesn't matter. You just want to get started somehow. So I think it's better for job seekers in the month of September, going all the way down to maybe around November. It tapers off closer you get to Thanksgiving and closer you get to Christmas. But I think this is a great opportunity for us who are in the job market to really be ready and to crank up the applications. It's very tough. I've noticed a few things in the job market. I talked about this last time we met, where there's a little bit of a dip in the salaries because so many people are in the job market. There's been so many layoffs. AI is out there. It's not really coming for us per se, the way we think we're going to lose our job tomorrow. No, I don't see the AI doing elicitation activities. I don't see the AI, like taking over the analysis that we do. It does help you do your job better. So I give an example. I was working on a project. As you guys know, I work in fintech. I work with banking applications. So we're building what we believe is the world's first AI-enabled banking platform, right? So we're very proud of it, and we're building all kinds of cool stuff. So I think the market will see lots of AI-enabled banking soon, because if you really look at banking particularly, there hasn't been a revolution in the banking or the way that we bank since first it was mobile online banking, because you used to go to the branches with your little bank book and sign that for years, for decades actually, and even centuries, yeah. And then we were revolutionized with web. So now you do online banking. And then we were revolutionized with mobile. Now you do mobile banking. So AI banking, I think, would be the next thing that would kind of change the way we interact with people who are holding our money, right? So that's something that the market is very hot about. So obviously, if you're providing banking applications and banking services, you want to make sure you're on the cutting edge. And in my organization, we feel like we are. So we're working on this thing, and I'm working with banks who are in Canada, and I'm also working with banks, large banks who are here in the US. So I know the regulations for here in the US. We were doing something about foreign exchange, and I wasn't sure what the regulations were in Canada, because as you know, every area kind of does their banking a little bit differently. So I asked my coworker who would work on a similar project. I said, hey, I'm trying to find out the regulations around this feature for Canadian banks that might be different from the US banks, because I'm in the US, so I'm much more expert on regulations for US banking. So he says to me, I'll check it out for you. And he goes and he searches for it in the AI. I don't think it was ChatGPT, it was a different one that's internal to us. And then he sends it to me and says, here's what the AI says. And I was like, oh, okay, thank you. Right? Obviously, I could have go checked it myself, but it just goes to show that the way that we're working is people are not even Googling anymore. They're not even Googling. They're just going to ask the AI a specific question because the AI is going to give them a specific answer. And they don't have to search through a long list of results to figure it out. They just trust the AI to go search for them, to think about it for them and give them the best result. Now, there's a danger to this, right? There's a danger in that if there is any analysis that you could have done, you're not doing it because you're totally reliant on this machinery to think for you. So that's kind of not a good thing. But the point is that the way we're operating over the last 3 years, I would say, has drastically changed. We are incorporating more GPT, more questions asked directly to the AI, and then it informs what we do next in our jobs. It doesn't replace us yet, right? So don't be worried about that. It doesn't replace us yet, but it's definitely changing the way you work, and you're working smarter, but you're also becoming better at asking better questions. And we as BAs, we're perfectly ready for that because our job, intrinsic in it, is to be able to ask good questions. Our job is to ask the right questions to the right people to have the right outcome to help us build the right thing. So we already are in the habit of asking good questions. We're already in the habit of making sure that we're probing, we're getting deeper and deeper. So the GPT, that the AI is going to help us do that quicker. But where we can really excel, and I've said this before in previous global BA stand-up, where we can excel is where we actually use our human skills, the things that the AI can't do yet. For example, it can give you the answer in text, but you can take that answer in text and make it into a beautiful presentation deck that's applicable to the situation that you're in, right? To the people and the audience that you're going to present to. You can take that information and it can inform other decisions. It can inform other questions you ask the actual real humans. So that is exactly how we're going to use it until further advancements come out, right? As it gets smarter and smarter, we have to get smart in how we use it. So it's not a threat yet, but you have to be equipped to use it. In some jobs like mine, you're not allowed to use ChatGPT like directly. Like you can't just say, here's all the data, upload the data and tell me all of the different data points and do the analysis for me, right? Like if you're in more of a data analytics kind of job, most of the time you can't do that because then your data is out on the open web and nobody wants that, right? You can get fired for that. So you still have to use your skills. You still have to use the tools that the organization has given you to do the job. But it's just so interesting. It's so revolutionary that you'd be remiss not to really like jump on it. And if you don't have a job as a BA, you're like, oh, well, how do I think about this? How do I use this? Because I don't have a job yet, so I don't have a problem to apply yet. Don't worry. Today we're going to talk about something I call LanBA. LanBA is our what we're focused on at the back office clubs. As you guys know, I have a club and we do business analysis and we help train you. And in that club, we have regular sessions. We call them stand-ups. So we have stand-ups weekly, twice a week, and we have training once a week. And in the stand-ups, we talk about different topics that help you to grow as a BA. And one of the things that we're doing right now is called LanBA, which is Land a BA Job. That's what it stands for. And it means we're going to help you with very minute, finite steps to land a BA job by the end of the year. Clock is ticking. We're in September. We got a short time. And I want to put a timestamp on it because we need you to really take massive action. So in order for you to really benefit from the LanBA, you'll get expertise from me as a business analyst, but I also want you to take additional action. So everybody's applying, right? Everybody's doing applications. Everybody's updating your resume. It's fine. It's not like you're not doing that. You're doing that. And some of you are getting good outcomes from that. You're getting calls from recruiters. Some of you are reaching out to recruiters, which is great. Some of you are reaching out to the jobs themselves or even hiring manager, just kind of saying, hey, I'm out here, I'm available if you have any opening. So you're already doing that. And it's difficult because there's so many applications out there for each job. Like one job gets up and then 500 people apply within the first couple of days, right? So it's like, oh my God, how am I going to break in when there are all these qualified people just like bombarding the one job? And because this is a highly paid job, obviously it's going to be very lucrative to everybody, right? So it's harder and harder to get in. But with the LanBA, what we're doing is we're giving you the tools and the practice to avoid some of the simple mistakes that you may have made in previous attempts to start your career. and we're helping you to be very targeted, very strategic. One of the things I've found in dealing with BAs who are trying to become a BA, who are trying to start your career as a business analyst, what I've found is that there's so much distraction. Like people are running off to do AWS, they're running off to do Salesforce, they're doing Scrum, they're doing so many different things. And the more things that they see out there, the more things they're trying to do. And I have to ask them, what is your goal? What are you trying to accomplish? And they'll say to me, I'm trying to start my career as a business analyst. I like the role. I think I could do it. I did a boot camp. I did a training. I think I'm ready. I'm lacking confidence though. I haven't had enough experience to work in the field, so I lack confidence. But I think that if I was to be given the opportunity, I could do it, right? So I have to ask them that. And I said, okay, so if you're trying to be a BA, why are you over here doing AWS? Why are you over here doing Salesforce? Why are you over here doing some other ITIL? Why are you doing all this stuff? And they're like, I don't know. Somebody told me I need to do that. Right? Somebody said I need to do a certificate, so I'm doing it. Okay, why are you doing CBAP? Hello, CBAP. Now, I know a lot of people have thoughts about the certifications from IIBA. And one of the persons I follow on LinkedIn very well is Patrick Giwa. He's a AI product manager, and he posts a lot of stuff about business analysis. And he posted something the other day that was an uproar. He said, you don't need a certificate to be a BA. And there were so many comments, so many things. People are like, oh my God, why did you say that? Oh my goodness. But he's absolutely right. That's why at the Back Office Club, we don't teach you how to get a certificate. We're not focused on helping you to get certified. I'm sorry to tell you. Whatever we teach you, you can use it to get certified. And as a matter of fact, we do give you PD hours to earn towards your certification. So we encourage it. But it doesn't result in what you think it results in. You getting the CBAP is great to have something on your resume to say, yeah, I'm committed to the career. I've done the work. I have a certificate. Woo, yeah. But if you think you're going to do the CBAP and then be able to do the job, it's two different things. It's academia and then it's practice. The two are not the same. So what happens is that people go in with the fake expectation that they're going to do the certificate and they're going to learn enough to do the job, and they get the certificate and they're happy about that. And they show up for the interview, and the questions that the interviewers ask them blow them out the water. And they're completely stunned and they're like, didn't have an answer. And they failed the interview. And they keep doing this over and over again. And sometimes they may move on to the second round. Sometimes they get cut out in the first round. And it's very demoralizing, right? It hurts you. It hurts me for you, right? I feel hurt for you because I know the pain of trying to start. I know the pain of, especially if you have another job and you have to be in that job. You hate your job, you hate your boss, you hate what you're doing, and then you're trying to start another job because you don't want to leave this one without having something else. Or if you got laid off your current job and now you have no job and you're trying to get started you have bills to pay, you have things to do, and you're trying to get started and you got the certification. You spent that money with the sacrifice to get the certification. You did it. You understood what you did. You learned. It's not like you didn't learn. You learned stuff. But then you go in the interview and you realize what you're learning is great for the book, not good for the practice. And it's not what they're asking you in the interview. And now you have this big disconnect and you're like, okay, how do I fix it? Because you won't give me a job unless I have experience. And I can't get experience unless you give me the job. So what do? I'm in this circle. I can't break in. So what people do, and I know you've heard this, is they'll just lie, They'll just put on the resume that they've been working forever as a BA and they have all this experience because it's the only way you're going to get a call. Now, my stance about the lying on the resume. I don't think you have to lie because I didn't have to lie, and I've coached many people who didn't have to lie. But I do believe that you have to tweak the resume, right? You can't have on the resume that you're in customer service all your career and then you want to be a BA. It just doesn't compute. You won't get called. You won't get matched. You won't go anywhere as a BA. So you really have to, as best as you can, tweak what it is that you've done so that it represents the best transferable skills that you have as a BA, right? So that's what it is. So it's a little bit difficult, and I'm not downplaying the effort it takes, but I think with the effort that we're making at the back office club with the LanBA, it's going to help you to do many different things that I think you will benefit from. First, and by the way, I'm going to put this on our website so that you can put your email in and you can just download a copy of our LanBA. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to get that done before this call today. I had some little errors that I couldn't solve, but I'll try to solve them by the end of today, and you can check it out by tonight to tomorrow. But I'll put something on our back office club website, backofficeclub.org, where you can put in your email address and we'll send you to your email a copy of our LanBA. But what is the LanBA going to do? The LanBA is going to help you to be focused. If your aim is to land a job this year, right? And like we said, September is a good time to start with this. If your aim is to land a BA job by the end of the year, you have to be focused on that and not anything else. Get rid of the distractions, right? We're focused on this thing. We're going to accomplish this thing. All of our energy is going in this thing. You already have been putting energy in. You're here. That means you've already been putting energy. But sometimes you're doing it in a little way that might not be the best. So we need to help you to be streamlined. So what it'll do, one, it'll help you to make sure you update your resume properly, to make sure you're adding the things in there that's relatable to a BA role that will help you to be noticed by the interviewers and to be able to get past the first screening. So we're going to do that. Then we're encouraging you to apply. So we have daily tasks, we have weekly tasks, and we have monthly tasks. So we're encouraging you to apply on a regular basis to jobs, right? So we have like a number. I think it's between 3 to 5 per day. You can clearly outdo that number, but we want to make sure every single day you're putting in the volume, because volume is going to be very important. Then we're going to help you with one of the things that you don't have right now by yourself is the case studies to practice with, right? So you might be learning, you can learn some of it from my videos. I have case studies on my website, but sometimes you need a little bit more detail and more hand holding, somebody to tell you if you're doing it right or not. So at the back office club, we do have that. So like we said, we have 2 stand-ups and we have 1 training. So what we'll do in our training is that we take a real project and we use that real project to help you to practice the techniques of being a BA. So last couple months, we worked on a mobile app. And then this month, we worked on a process flow diagram. So we took a very complex process flow, and we're practicing how do you actually write or create the process flow diagram to represent the as-is case. And then we're learning how do you identify inefficiencies in any process so you can make the right recommendation for the future process. So those are some of the skills that you learn, which will help you in the interview when they ask you, okay, how do you improve processes? You already have that example because you did the hands-on work. So that practice is what's going to help you to be more confident when you become a BA. The next thing that we do is the storytelling. The storytelling. That is the biggest problem. Hold on one second. Come here, baby. My dog wants to help with the storytelling. Come here, darling. Come here. Anybody, you remember my dog? My dog Jackson? Hi. Whenever I'm teaching, he comes and he listens and he sits right at my foot. So I think he's really the BA dog. Yeah. So back to what I was saying. So the storytelling. One of the things that challenges people in the interview is that you think you're telling a good story. You think you're telling a good story and you're wondering, okay, I did my best. I told a good story, but I didn't get a call back. Sometimes you haven't told a good story. Sometimes it's the details of your story that did not connect to the interviewers that caused them to maybe not continue with you, or somebody else has told a better story than you. You have no control over what the other candidates are doing. But if you can practice better storytelling, it will definitely help you to just become a better interviewee, right? So the storytelling is a big challenge. So what we've been working on at the Back Office Club is helping members to craft good stories, stories that resonate, stories that show them in the light that they want to be seen to the interviewers, stories that help them to cement themselves as a competent, clear, easy to communicate, somebody who can take something ambiguous or big and make it a very streamlined story that anybody in the interview room can understand. So those are the things. And so some of the things that we worked on in the back office club was, for example, tell me about a time when you failed and how did you handle it? Practicing with each of the members with their own individual stories to craft a story that they could tell in the interview that would be good. Stories that have all the parts to it. We have situation, task, the actions that you took, the actions the other party took, the results that you got, and the conclusion that you drew from that example, right? So those are some of the things that we did. We also did, tell me about a recommendation that you made that helped the team. And tell me about how you deal with difficult stakeholders. So questions like those are very common questions in the interview that sometimes if you're not practicing, you show up and you want to wing it. You can't always wing it. You got to practice these things, right? The other thing as a part of our LanBA is you have to learn the tools. No, you're not going to show up to an interview and the interviewer going to say, open your computer and show me Jira and show me DevOps and show me all this stuff. It's never going to happen. Well, not never, but it's unlikely to happen. But if you've used the tools, then you can speak to it much more, confidently. You can speak to it much better because you've actually used it. So at the back office club, we have Jira, we have Confluence, we have Azure DevOps, we have Figma, we have Slack, we have all of the tools, right? You can get Jira and Confluence on your own, right? There's a free version that you can go sign up for, and you can practice using it on your own. At the back office club, we have projects, and you can comment, I review your work, let's say you create a conference page with a BRD, I review it, make sure it's written properly. So you get that additional support when you're a member. But even if you're not a member, you can go do the free version and just practice using the tool. So when they talk about, hey, how do you write user stories? You have some examples because you've used it, right? So you can't just rely on watching the videos and just say, okay, yeah, I think I can do this. You really have to, even without having the job, get into the habit of practicing doing the work as if you had the job. It's kind of tough, right? But see, the LanBA asks you to take massive action, because we believe if you do this massive action, you will have the results. The other part of the LanBA is also terms and jargons. We want you to speak like a BA. We want you to have the terms. We want you to not have layman's term when you're explaining things. Not talk about, there's so many different examples, but I want you to use our terms, and every day you learn new terms. For example, we talked about hardening. How many people know what that term means? Hardening. It means that after you finish designing and developing your solution, let's say a software solution, your documentation team needs to create the documentation for that. So that could be help files, it could be support documents, it could be whatever. That term is now hardening right now. So terms are changing. It's not staying the same. You need to learn that. Terms like triaging, what does that mean? Terms like, all of these things that we're using in the field, you need to start learning to use them, right? And I have an article up on karaleise.com that has a long list of terms that you can use as reference. And we believe that between updating your resume, applying to these jobs, getting the training, the hands-on training, practicing the actual techniques, learning how to answer these behavioral questions, learning the tools, and getting the jargon and the speech, we believe that with those steps, whenever you land into an interview, you'll do better. You will do better at the interviews. And because you'll do better at the interviews, you're going to go much further. And we are optimizing. We can't guarantee you get the job, but we're optimizing for getting more interviews. That's our North Star. That's the metric we're tracking. How many interviews are you getting per month? If we can help you increase the number of interviews you're getting per month, we believe that's going to result in an offer. And so that's the LanBA that we're working on at the back office club, right? So if you have no BA experience, right, we have the tools to help you to get that. If you have unclear communication, like you're just not confident when you speak, you don't command attention in the interview, right? We work on that. And even small things like your presence. When you sit in front of an interviewer, they have to imagine you sitting in front of the stakeholders. They have to imagine how you'd present to a board. They have to imagine how you'd present to leadership team. They have to imagine how you discuss with their project managers, right? So they have to see you in that light. So we also work on presence, right? And then answering the behavioral questions, which is very important, which is How do I answer a question that's really more about my behavior? Time when I failed, a time when I had disagreement with my manager, like all of those things. How do I craft those stories to tell good stories that will impress the interviewers? And lastly, the BA scenarios. And this is something we haven't started yet at the Back Office Club, but we will in September, which is not just the behavior, but how do you handle the scenario? So for example, somebody asks you, how do you handle reducing waste as a business analyst? What? Right? Somebody ask you that in the interview, you'll be like, because you haven't worked in the field. So it's difficult for you to just come up with stuff when you haven't practiced it. So that's why we want you to practice it. Things like, for example, if you're dealing with a global product, how do you coordinate a UAT for members who are going to be all over the world? What would you say? Right? And I just did a video the other day that said, what is your approach? Which is also a very common thing they ask you. What is your BA approach? It's like an open question to different scenarios. So you have to be practicing these things, being involved in that kind of discussion regularly, so that when this is asked in an interview, you can confidently answer it and you won't get stumped, right? So that's a little bit about the LanBA, which we're doing here at the Back Office Club. Again, go to backofficeclub.org to find out more about what we do. And I will put up a PDF that has details about what we just talked about, so that you can download a version of it for yourself. And in that LanBA will be different links that you can follow that will help you find the resources I talked about. So for example, I want to know, what are all the terms that we use? Well, I have an article for that. What are some of the difficult interview questions I need to practice for? Well, I have a list of videos for that. Or they'll ask, help me to do a mock interview so I can practice to go through a full 1.5 hour interview and see how I would answer it. I have a video for that. So I'll point you to where to go to find things, so you're not just jumping all over the place. I want you to be focused. I want you to be very dedicated, but you're not going to be distracted. The aim of the game is land a new job by the end of the year. We have a few months to make that happen. So with massive action over the next few months, I believe that we can all achieve that. There's a lot of BA jobs out there for different areas. I think it's not undoable. It's definitely doable. Between contract jobs and full-time jobs, it really doesn't matter. But I just want everybody to have the tools that they can use to be able to achieve this thing. All right. So enough from me. I've been talking a lot. Now I'm going to turn over to you guys to ask the questions that you have, to let me know what y'all are thinking. First of all, where are y'all from? I've been talking, so I didn't even get a chance to check on your location. We are the Global BA Stand-Up. So put in the chat where you guys are coming in from. I want to see where the locations are at. And we have a number of people here on the call also, so I'm happy for you guys who are here. So we have Abuja, Nigeria. Awesome. I have a lot of Nigerians who are following me, and I love all of y'all. Okay. We've got UK, we've got England, we've got Leticia UK. Hey Leticia, welcome back. Dami's our Black Office Club member. Welcome. I see Cherichi in here too, I think. Ontario, Canada. Welcome, Canadians. Lagos again. Faloni's here too. She's a Back Office Club member, and she's from New York. Labastic is back. Hey, Labastic, UK. South Africa, Ghana, nice. Orlando, Florida, nice. Wonderful. Amazing. Kansas City, awesome. I've never been to Kansas. I should go. I've never been. More Ontario, good. Lots of support from the UK, Canada, different parts of Africa. Awesome. I'm so happy you guys are here. Excited. And there's a few people here on the chat also. Nigeria, Las Vegas, Texas, Chicago, India. Yay! You guys are up late because India is late right now. Thank you. All right, so let's jump into the question and answer section. Again, if you're on the live and you want to participate, just go to karaleise.com. There's a pop-up. Click on the pop-up. It'll give you a little form. Fill that out, and you get the link. It's very short. It's very quick. So you can get the link. You join the meeting, which I have over here, and then you can ask your questions, and we can discuss them. So, yes. The BA allies say hi. Hi. Welcome. Okay, so question time. Awesome. We got a bunch of people with their hands up. Let's see who we want to take first. Annie. Welcome, Annie. By the way, I'll give you guys a short story. I met Annie in Atlanta this weekend. So Annie was in Atlanta for something else. And she messaged me and like, hey, so we were able to meet up. We went for dinner, was it? Yeah, we went for dinner. We had a great time. Yeah, hold on. We're going to get to you in a minute. We had a great time. So I'm so excited, Annie, that you're here. Thank you so much for supporting us. Thank you for being a Back Office Club member. And it was wonderful to meet you in person. All right, go ahead with your question.
Now I'm back. So I have a question. Excuse my background. So for my resume title as a business analyst, should I change it to healthcare business analyst leveraging 9 years of laboratory experience?
The leveraging part is too long. It's too much. So just put healthcare business analyst.
Just leave it like that?
Yeah, because you're going to put right below the title, you can put a little section that has it's like a description of what your main accomplishment is. And that would be, you'd say, leveraging, 9 years of, or how long you are a business analyst. I'm not sure what you're going to put there. But leveraging experience the, what was it that you said? Medical. Laboratory technician. Yeah. To help with business analysis projects in the healthcare field or something like that, right? So you put one, it doesn't need to be a long paragraph, just like 1 or 2 lines. You put it right below your title, you put it in italics, and then you jump into your bullet points after what is it that you did in that role. Because you don't want the title to be too long. It has to be read by the AI. It has to be easy to scan. So you don't need to put all that stuff. They're going to see that when they read the details.
Okay.
Yeah. And by the way, you're a Back Office Club member. You can send me your resume so we can review it.
I'm going to send that.
That's part of your benefit of being a member, girl. All right. Awesome. Who's next? Ifoma? If I'm saying it wrong, you got to correct me, girl. Ifoma?
Yeah, you did well.
Okay.
Hi,
Hi.
Yeah, thank you so much for all you do. I've been following you for almost a year now.
Wow.
And I've learned a lot.
Thank you.
Yeah, okay. So I'm based in Abuja, Nigeria. And a few days ago, I had an opportunity to talk to a recruiter that I met on LinkedIn. And, I told him that I was a BA and, I was looking for experience opportunities, that I didn't mind volunteering, just to get, because he really has, a lot of projects going on. So he asked me to send my portfolio, and though I had one, because during my bootcamp training, they had us do a little bit of data analysis before they got into the BA modules. So I sent that, and I also sent some PDFs of some of the core BA projects that we did, like in a team. And I didn't hear back from him. But much later, I had another opportunity to talk to him, and he said, oh, yes, really, he didn't want to respond because he felt like I didn't really have what he wanted, that I'm more like a business intelligence analyst. And that as a recruiter, like if he's looking for somebody to do the business analysis thing, he wants someone who can do a data analysis as well as business intelligence analysis, because he feels that it's really important. And that was the reason why he asked me to send my portfolio, not my resume. And as BAs, we our strengths are more on the core skills, like the elicitation techniques and all that. That's what we really do. But I just have this feeling that because of my environment, there may be a need for me to go back and do more work on my data analysis. I don't know. What's your take on that?
Yeah, so there's always a confusion between being a BA and being a data analyst or a business intelligence analyst. It depends on what he's looking for. If he was looking for somebody who's strong on the data side, why didn't he say that? Like, I have no patience for recruiters who you discuss with them, you talk with them, they ask you for something, you send it to them, and then they disappear, they ghost you. They disappear and ghost you. I find it to be highly unprofessional. As a recruiter, I believe it is your responsibility if you've already established a discussion or dialogue with someone and they've gotten to the point where they've shared documents with you, send back to say, well, I haven't reviewed your documents. I don't think you're a fit for this role. I'll reach out to you when I find something that's more appropriate to what your skills are or something. So I don't like that. That's a big turnoff. But at the same time, we have no choice because sometimes you just have to go through them. But I think that's an unfortunate thing. Now, in terms of BA and data analyst, I think that you have to choose the area that you want to be in. So the skills that a functional BA has can include data, right? But then there's additional skills that are more a data intelligence, a data analyst or a business intelligence analyst would have to have for them to do those roles. And the two sometimes get conflated depending on which company you're looking at. So if you really want to focus on the data side, by the way, at the Back Office Club, we don't focus on the data side because it's a little bit more challenging to find. We use real world projects at the Back Office Club. It's a little bit more challenging to have the data to do a real world analysis because those data is not going to be available to anybody and they're on the NDAs anyway. So we don't really focus on that. But if you really want to excel in data analysis, then you can take that arm. And there are courses, there's Coursera courses, there's Udemy courses, there's boot camps, there's other things that you can do for that. I can't speak to the quality of those because the data set needs to be massive for you to really be able to pull the kind of reports that you need. You need to have real, billions and millions of records to really make sense of it. So I'm not sure how they're teaching this, but you can choose that. But if you want to be a BA, a functional BA, you don't have to be a data analyst also. It's two separate arms. So I would say maybe what he was looking for is not the role that you want to pursue, because you also have to look at, what do I like doing? Do you like doing data analysis? Do you like doing business intelligence?
Not really.
So
not really.
Right?
I'm just thinking, I recall you said junior BA roles aren't really that, rampant.
Right.
So I'm just trying to be realistic because the way it is, I think the data analysts, the data scientists, and the engineers, even on LinkedIn, maybe by the connections I have, there's more information, there's more visibility than BAs. So I think I'm in a situation where I may need to prove myself, I may need to sell myself. And, if I walk into a business and I tell them I can do this and this for you, naturally they would want some,
the more skills you have, obviously it's better. But again, I want you to focus. If you like doing data analysis, you can go all the way with data analysis, right? And that will be a whole different career arm. But as a business analyst, you do sometimes have to deal with data. You do sometimes have to pull a report. Yeah. You do sometimes have to do a SQL query. So you can do enough to function as a BA without becoming an entire, a whole different career, which is data analyst. So I don't know if it was a combination of what you sent him in your portfolio, or because he didn't give you feedback then. Maybe he wanted something that was, if he says that what he saw, he wanted somebody more on the data analyst side. Well, okay, maybe you could have provided that. He just didn't give you the feedback or give you the chance to give him what he wanted. So when they ask you for a portfolio, you kind of have to ask them, what is it that you're looking for? Because I have done so many things, I'm not sure which ones would make sense for you, right? Because now you just send him what you think he wanted, and then he said, I didn't want that. You didn't give me what I wanted. I didn't see anything there that matches the role. So you have to get into the habit of asking follow-up questions. So when you deliver something, it is actually what they want. So if he had told you, I'm looking for any example of dashboards that you've created, any examples of reports that you've built, so that I can see an example of your work, then you knew you'd have gone and done that, and that would have been what you put in your portfolio. So yeah, that's one example. Yeah, sure. The other thing too is, just to piggyback on that, it's not very common for a recruiter to ask you for a portfolio.
Yes.
I'm surprised.
That's an odd thing for them to ask, right? Normally, in the interview, they ask you some qualifying questions to move you through. And then when you get the interview, they will ask you a question in the interview. but they don't typically want to see you send them a document or send them exactly what you've done, because you'll be doing that. Every project is different, and they won't even understand what you sent them anyway, because they don't have the context of the project. So that was also very odd. Not a very common case at all. So I find that to be strange. Okay, go ahead, Abion. I know you want. I know a couple of people have their hands up. I'm going to get to all of you. Go ahead.
Hi, Karaleise. How
Hi.
are you?
Hi, welcome. Nice to see you again, Abiora. It's been a while. How are you doing?
Oh, busy.
Okay.
Yeah. I wanted to kind of piggyback on what Ifoma had just said. I think from my observation, right, apart from the regular age-old debate about having to be a journalist or, domestic speaker, BA, I think there's an emerging trend that's currently out there, right, whereby many organizations are expecting BA. I know as a BA, right, of course, as a basic, being able to do simple, query and stuff like that. But I think most organizations are demanding more from BAs, right? And that's where she's alluding to. The fact that they now expect you, right, kind of sort of killing two birds with one stone, right, to do your job as a BA, and then cross over and also do the job of a data analyst, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So this word is gradually emerging, Now, some also are also requiring you to also do the job of a QA. Do you understand? So I think these are all cost saving measures, right? Whereby they look at, there's so many people out there looking at, hey, if you can get them to do this, right? For a BA file, you could, kind of, prepare your PowerPoint, but they expect you now to be versed in Tableau, Power BI, stuff like that, which it doesn't hurt as a BA to kind of know those tools, right? But up until this moment, most BAs, you don't really go out there to present. You probably present these reports for senior execs, right? Mm-hmm. But now they are expecting you to really, right, do this, prepare this, put the queries, analyze them, recommend the insights. And then, so I can see what she's saying. They're not requiring, BAs to continue, combine these two positions in the present market.
Yeah, it's true. And I've noticed that too. In my role, for example, and this has been all along, even before we had such a big problem with getting jobs, even when the job market was hot. I've always been in positions where I may have to play multiple roles, right? Depending on what the project needs. Sometimes I play a BA and a Scrum Master. Sometimes I play a BA and a PO. Sometimes I play a BA. And yeah, you mentioned testing. I might have to test sometimes. Yeah. So it's good for you to kind of be able to do it, but I wouldn't encourage you to get in there with that as being the expectation, right? Because then you'll always be doing everybody's job and you might not do your job properly. So it's something you have to balance. But I see what you mean, that sometimes the because of the cost saving potential, they're trying to see how I can stretch one person to do as many of the roles as possible. But there's a risk to the project when you do that. So if you have the BA write the requirements and test it, sometimes you can get away with it based on what you're testing. But sometimes they're too close to the thing, and then you miss things, and it goes into production, and then you're like, oh, we have this big bug. Well, we didn't have a separate person testing, right? So there are downsides to that, which the project sometimes will feel. But I agree with you that sometimes they're asking you to play multiple roles. That's why when you're trying to get a job, you won't just look for BA only. Again, you look for BA, product owner sometimes, functional analyst, product analyst. They name it all kinds of things.
Oh, so many, yeah. And that's and what you just said is a key point there, Karaleise, because it comes under so many nomenclatures, right? So if you're out there just kind of trying to figure out, it comes, BA job really comes under so many umbrellas, so many names these days. Yeah. Depends on what they want of them, because I know a friend of mine just got a job as a business administrator, and I look at the job description, he was like, I got a job as a business administrator. I said, what do you do? He sent me his job, his job description. These are all BA jobs.
Wow.
Business administrator? He said, yeah, those are all BA jobs. So that was the new.
They don't know what to call it. Like it's like a kitchen sink. Just throw something in there and call it something. But it's a very lucrative job, so I think you guys can still be encouraged to be a part of our community, but you just have to be um, more creative in how you search for the jobs because they're naming it all kinds of things. All right, thank you, Abiora. We got Debbie. Go ahead, Debbie.
Hi, I'm in
Hey.
Orlando, Florida. I've been listening to you. I got laid off in July.
I
My
remember.
company I was working as my background is in accounting, but I dabbled in business systems analyst stuff, and that's what my direction I want to be. I get more excited about IT stuff. That's the inner geek I have. The numbers geek is trading into the tech geek now. And so I am because since I'm not working, and I was wondering what suggestions, other than your lovely website, which is wonderful, I've been on it many times. What other trainings are actually worth, or going to hold weight, like Coursera and Udemy? Does that actually mean something to somebody?
I don't know about them. I can only talk about my program, which is the back office club. That's the one I can talk about because that's the one that we do a lot of work on. And the difference with ours, I mean, you can always do a boot camp. You can always do Coursera. You can do Udemy. And I have done them just to see what's out there, right? I've done some business analyst courses, and I don't know. I haven't done all of them, obviously, so I can't speak for all of them. But some of the things that I've noticed when I've done them is, one, the main problem is if you're new, it's great because they give you an overview about what this business analyst career is all about, and that's great. But where they fall short now is practicing what it is that they taught you. So how do you apply the things that you just showed me? That's where we come in, because that's the only reason why we were formed, because I kept seeing these courses and these boot camps that were great to give you the introduction, what it is, what's a BRD, how you work with teams, but we need to practice the thing. You need the problem. So then I saw some of the problems that they would present, and some of these, like for example, Coursera, I did a whole set of courses on there, and they'll give you downloadables, and I did one from Google, so they had Google project managers talking about what they do the role, and they had business analysts from Google and all that stuff. So it was very nice. It was entertaining. I liked listening to them. I felt like it was great, but it was high level. It was fluffy. And then when I got the project, it was a capstone project. What I found, or what my challenge was, is that there was too much information given to you to solve. Like they'll tell you, this is a problem, this is what we're trying to solve for, this is the thing, and now you have to go and fix it. But the problem is, in the real world, you don't even know the problem that you're solving. We have this initiative. We want to, change out from one tool to the next tool. That's it. You don't know what the problem the users currently have. Sometimes they'll tell you, like vaguely, oh yeah, it's taking too long. We have customers complaining. We have these amount of issues or tickets coming from customers. We want to make it more streamlined. You have those high level things. But the challenge I have was that the capstone projects, there was too much information that you're told. So you don't build the muscle of figuring out what is it that we really need to solve for. So you don't really, I didn't find that. I'm not saying that every course is this way. Maybe there are other courses that I haven't done that's great. So my challenge with them is, one, the information is high level a lot of times. Two, it's great as an introduction, but it doesn't take you all the way, right? Three, it doesn't help you with the interview questions because it's too surface level. Four, it's a little bit too academia. It's academic. Like you can benchmark against the Babok, but you're not benchmarking against actual practice. And so those are the main things that are my criticisms of the boot camp. And I can't blame them because you don't have access to real world projects like that. Those things are kind of inside of an organization that they don't really publish. They might publish a case study here and there, but it's not detailed enough for you to practice with. So those are the challenges that I have with the courses that I've found out there. But nevertheless, if you want to just start, you have, like I said, Coursera, you have Udemy, and you have a number of people who offer boot camps that will just help to get you introduced. Us at the Back Office Club, we're actually better for you when you have some understanding of business analysis already. Like you've done a basic course, you understand how the BA role is, and you have some idea, but you need to practice. So where we are stronger is where you need to actually see this in action. You actually work on a project. You actually see the kinds of questions that are being asked in the interview. You actually see how we create these documents. You actually use the tools and the problems that you're trying to solve, and you have me to ask any random questions as you're going through the process. So that's where we're strongest. If you already have a boot camp or you already have some knowledge, but you just don't know how to apply it, you don't have a case study to work on, you've never worked in the field before, what are the kinds of problems that you're going to be solving or the projects you're going to be on, you want to practice that before you get the job, that's where the back office club would be most helpful for you.
And also, how much Excel is used in a BA role?
It's used a lot. Excel is like our, if we don't have a tool, it's Excel. If there's not a specific tool to do it in, it's Excel. Excel and Word and PowerPoint are basic tools that we use a lot. You don't really have a BA tool as such. If you're in Agile, we use Azure DevOps and we use Jira a lot, right? So at the back office club, we have those tools for you with projects in them so you can see how it works. But in general, Excel is perfect for a lot of things. Sometimes you even take things out of Azure and you export them to Excel or out of Jira into Excel because it's easier to manipulate and work with and come up with your own diagrams and stuff like graphs and stuff like that. So Excel is a heavily used tool, but you don't have to go crazy with it. You don't have to be writing macros in Excel. You don't have to be, maybe just a pivot table most of the time and maybe create some graphic, some charts and stuff. That's basically it. So you don't have to go, yeah, it's not, I mean, it depends on the data also, obviously, but most of the time you don't really have to go super Excel on it. All right, great. Let's see who else have their hand up. Andrew. Sorry, guys, if you're in order, I'm just calling whoever I see hands up, okay? So I'll get to you eventually. Andrew, go ahead.
Yeah, hi everyone. Yeah, I've been listening, and I'm already a BA.
Okay.
So I'm not sure if this call is for me.
Okay.
You know, yes, I'm just trying to find out. Because for me, I see it more as mentorship. So I just need some mentorship support. So is it the right call for me?
What is it that you need? I didn't hear you clearly. Mentorship?
Mentorship. I'm already a business analyst. I think I was in this. I trained with you about 3-4 years ago. So.
Yeah, this call is for you.
Yeah.
So we talk a lot about job search because a lot of people here are actually in the job search. But yes, we do also help, like the Global BA Stand-Up we have once every month, the first Monday of every month. We do talk about topics to do with people who already have a job. Let's say you're working on a project and you're stuck on something, then you can always ask that question and we can give you support. And also at the back office club, we have two arms too. One is the job seekers, we call it the Job Seekers Guild. The other one is called the Career Excellence Guild. And the Career Excellence is for you if you already have a job and you're working on a project, you're stuck, or you have, just BA related questions to help you do your job better. It's there too. And we have a stand-up dedicated for that. So we have one stand-up for the job seekers and one stand-up for the people who already have a job. So some of the things that I have seen for people who already have a job is, every project is different, right? And every project you use different tools and techniques. So what I've seen is that members will say, hey, I'm working on this particular project and these are the problems I'm having, right? Like we had one member, he needed to create a way of working document and he just didn't know what a way of working document looked like. So we had in our Confluence page examples of these are how you write ways of working document. These are the things you should be covering. These are the sections you should have so that you can create your own way of working for your team. So things like that, right? Just to help you to not have to go through the pain of figuring it out. We've already figured it out. We have an example. Just copy and paste and move on and do your job. Right? So yeah. Did you have any questions about your current role that you wanted to ask, Andrew?
No. Because I just finished the contract and I'm going into the next contract, and it's based on what's it called, agentic AI. So I just wanted to, I start in 2 weeks, so I'm just trying to, hit the ground running. So
can I ask you, what is there any tips that you can give? Because I have a few people who are on contracts, but when their contract ends, they don't always have another one that's lined up. Do you have any suggestions or any tips about how to try to, if you're in contract, how to keep them like one behind the other?
I've been doing this for 8 years now, and like I said, 4 years ago, I was in one of your boot camps, so I trained with you, and I learned.
Oh, I remember you now. I remember you now. That's like that, Nick. I remember who you are. before now. Yes, we did a consult together, I believe, and I had a session and you joined it. Yes, yes.
Yes.
Welcome back. Oh my goodness. See, he doesn't have his camera on, so I couldn't see the face, but now I know because I remember him now.
Yeah, so
Awesome.
I mean, with contracting, it's just, building that rapport with your recruiters.
Yes.
Because recruiters in particular, especially for contract roles, they don't tend to just get anyone in. They like to get the experienced people that have gone through them in the past and offer these roles to them.
Yes.
So yeah.
Yeah. So you typically work with one recruiter, right? Who knows you and knows that you've done good work before.
Yeah, that's what you like. You've worked with in the past. They put you through. You've done one of the interviews. You've got the jobs. You've done the jobs properly. So anytime there are new jobs, they just get back to you.
Nice.
Before they even before they even advertise it, they just call you up and say, "Look, I've got this gig here. What do you think?"
Nice.
Because they trust you. You build this trust with them over time.
Yes.
And like you mentioned, there's no use lying about what you've done. You just have to do the work, build those skills over time.
Yes.
Because to become a contract BA is different from being a BA in a
full time.
Yes. A full time BA. You need to be able to hit the ground running. So you need to build these relationships. And like you mentioned earlier, it's just about knowing the job. Understanding how to have a business what's called analysis approach, knowing how to interview, knowing how to have presence. Because like you mentioned, the big thing is when they're interviewing you, they're trying to find out if you're gonna fit.
Yes.
It's not really about what you know, because really and truly anyone can tell them anything, but just how you express yourself, articulate yourself, and when they're watching you, they're looking at at how you will fit in with the
It's likability. It's likability for sure. They have to like you and they have to see you in that role that they're looking for you to be in. Likability is so important, even if you're not saying the right things.
But it's important. It's so important.
They'll overlook some things because you're likable.
I've been on interviews that I smashed, but I must have come across a certain way, and they were like no. And I've been on interviews where I wasn't really that good, but I was smiling, I was laughing, and I got the role. So
there you go. Good. Well, thank you, Andrew. I'm happy to see you again. Happy that you're here. Thank you so much. And we have this every Monday, the first Monday of every month, so you can save it in your calendar. We'll be here again in October and all the months, so you can always join. And if you have any questions, you can always ask, and you can also help answer for newer BAs because they might need the expertise as well. So awesome. All right.
Okay.
Debbie, did you go already, or did you have your hand up? Oh, okay. Any other questions from anybody else? Any questions from anybody else here? But I want to piggyback on what Andrew said. It's so important, the likability, and it's also because contract jobs, they hire you for a specific role. Like I talk about this all the time. They hire you for a specific role, and they need you. Please? Oh, yeah, okay. You were here earlier. You know what? Go ahead. Let me make you go ahead before I go on.
I'm very sorry about that. So
go
my
ahead.
name is Abe.
Okay.
There's a problem. Back home when I was in Nigeria, I made an attempt to. I got certified, and I came to Canada with hope that I'm going to get a job with project management job.
Okay.
So I recertified again. Then I've attended a lot of your books. I did one of it, but I didn't finish because I was actually searching for a job.
Okay.
So I've done a lot of training on BA.
Okay.
Which I've never laid my hand on any of the BA roles, or I just assume I know the practice and the theory experience, but the practical hands on the job is not there.
Mm-hmm.
So now with my PMP, which I know theory as well, I've done little projects in Nigeria those days, but literally what I'm trying to say is that the hands on the job, even if you are not in the boot camp or you attend the boot camp, some of us are just coming for what we can put food on our table for our family, that's it. Mm-hmm. But now you have the certification, but you do not have hands on the job. What's your advice on that? Like now you have a PMP, I've done a BA Business Analyst training, though I'm not yet certified in Business Analyst. I'm certified in Scrum Master as well. So whenever I do my CV or my resume, I put BA, I put what's it called? I put project management, I put Scrum, the little of BA. So there's confusion. I don't know where to fit in.
You're right. There is confusion. And if you're confused, imagine what the interviewers or the recruiters are thinking. They're also confused. Now, I think there's complements, right? So the PMP that you have, which I think is a great certification, it's complementary. You said you don't have the BA certification yet. It's complementary to the Scrum Master which you have, and you can, everybody can do a Scrum Master within a weekend. So it's not, it doesn't take that much effort to finish that one. But my question to you is, do you want to be a BA or do you want to be a project manager? Which one of those two things you think is more aligned to you? Because you mentioned having done project management back in Nigeria. You mentioned being certified one time with PMP, and then you got recertified with PMP. So you spent a lot of effort and energy in project management. The question is, why do you want to deflect and go to BA?
Yeah, I can go to BA, but the point now is that with the certification augments the BA roles. That's one. Then secondly, if you're doing your resume, how do you put your resume? Are you going to discard the BA roles, or you are going to put the PMP up?
That's why I'm trying to first find out, before we talk about the resume, what do you want to do? Which one? And so there's one thing. I want to get a job. And I don't care if it's BA or project manager. I understand that part, right?
Exactly.
I get that. But if you could choose, let's say you had two offers on the table, exact same salary, exact same thing. Which one of these two jobs do you actually enjoy doing? Do you think you enjoy a BA or a project manager? They're separate.
When I was doing the BA, I think I understand the BA better than the project management, because the project management, it's a bit difficult for you to get a role. When in BA, you could fit into most of these sectors, right?
Right.
So that's what I'm thinking of. So I think the mistake is that you get confused when you go left, right, you don't know where to land. That's the problem I have.
Yes, and that's what I started out with this call about, which is being focused. Because if you're not focused and you have internal turmoil about which one I want to do, that will represent itself in the resume, which means it's going to make it harder for you to get either one. So you have to be focused. So if you believe that you enjoy business analysis better, and you think it's easier for you to get started with a BA career as opposed to a project, and you're right, for project management, it's even harder to break in. One, because they want to see a long list of successful projects before they trust you with the project. Because remember, you're managing the budget, the scope, the time, the people, the all the leadership discussions. So they have to be very sure to hire somebody. It's even harder to break into a project management role than it is to break into a BA role. That is for sure. So if you decide it's going to be BA, then you need to make sure your resume reflects that, right? So
I've taken the decision now. It's BA I want to do now.
Good. That's the first step. The first step is eliminating the confusion. What do I want to do? I'm going to do BA, then all in on BA. So now that you've made that decision, the next step is go back to look at your resume and make sure that anybody who looks at your resume can see you in the light of being a BA. That doesn't mean you can't put the PMP on there. You can put PMP. You can say that you have a PMP certification. It's very complimentary. But it doesn't mean that that's the main thing that's going to be your resume is about, right? So now you need to, whatever project you ran before in Nigeria, you put those projects still on your resume. You don't need to lie about them. But then you can try to tweak the BA parts of it that you did. The documentation, the elicitation, discussing with stakeholders, all the different things that you had done back in Nigeria, you can put that there on the resume and tweak it so that it has more BA terms than project management terms, right? So when you're having the interview, you don't have to hide that you've done project management before. You just need to have an answer for why are you transitioning from project management to BA. That's going to be a very, very common question. Like, okay, if you have a PMP, why are you doing BA? And I can tell you why I'm a BA, and you could probably borrow this story. Because I have opportunities to be in project management, and I keep shying away from it. Because it's a different career. It's a different career. And for me, to be honest with you, it's the money too. Like project managers get paid a lot, but in my role, I get paid as much as the project manager is getting paid. So I didn't see the value personally. But the reason why I, for example, not to say I'll never change my career. I might, I might teach all of y'all how to do it and then go do something else. But for me, the project manager's role is different. I'm doing different activities than a BA. The project manager is concerned with the budget. He's concerned with having the right resources. He's concerned with finding the people to be fitting all the roles. He's concerned with making sure he can present the overview of the project to the leadership team. He's concerned with kind of making sure that if there's any problem that presents a risk, that he can de-risk the project. All of these things.
Yes.
But I, as a BA, I'm concerned with the user's experience too. I'm concerned with making sure I'm solving the right problem. I'm concerned with the requirements. I make sure that we're building the right thing for the right people. And it's a slightly different approach, right? So I don't have to be worrying about rubbing shoulders with leadership all day long, although I do sometimes. But I'm more concerned with, are we building the right thing? Do I have the right requirements? Am I talking to the right team members? Am I making sure the development team knows what to build? And I like that. I like being in the weeds, kind of, to make sure that when we do release this thing, it's solving the right problem, the customers are happy, we have the right people, and documentation and discussion. That's the part that I like. I feel personally satisfied when something I'm working on comes to fruition and it's out there and makes people's lives better. So the project manager, a little bit of that too, but you're more focused on a higher level, at looking at the overall project. And I just don't enjoy that. So you can use that in your answer to say, having done both business analyst and project management, I find that I'm much more successful in the details. I'm much more successful working with the stakeholders. I'm much more successful delivering the requirements. So that's the one that I want to spend more of my time on, right? So have an answer for why you're moving out of project management to business analyst that they can believe, right? So the first thing is, you decided you're going to do BA. Great, check, wonderful. Update the resume, check. Have answers for these interview questions. And by the way, by end of today, maybe tomorrow, I'll have the LanBA, which is London New BA Job Roadmap, available on our website. And you can download that and see what are all the different steps that we are promoting for you to get this job. So hopefully, hopefully that helps you.
Is there a way? Do we have a way that we can be checking on how to have the hands on the job? Like somebody mentioned mentorship, right? Hands on the job. Okay, you want to learn how to do this project, but probably you are not physically on the ground, So is there any video assistant that you have already that somebody can be learning how to put hands on the job in the projects?
Yeah. So on my website and on YouTube channel, we do have free videos that talk about the case studies. So we have a case study on creating a wealth management app and how we do the business analysis from scratch. We have case studies on process flow diagrams. If you go to backofficeclub.org, we have courses that walk you through backofficeclub.org.
Okay.
And Joshua, you can put the link in there to the courses page. We have courses, and our courses are real world. This is the hands-on practice that you're talking about, right?
That's it.
Right. So you get to see, here's a real project that you're a BA working in, and these are the problems that you need to solve. And by the way, the first four videos of those courses are free. So you can watch them first to get a feel for the type of problems that they solve. And then if you want to pay for the course, it's like $45 or something. You can pay to watch the rest of it.
I think we just, I should go to your website, right? I'll get there.
Can you put the link in the chat, Joshua? The chat for the meeting and also the chat for the live.
Okay, just
so it's backofficeclub.org, and you go to courses, and you'll see all of our courses there, and you can watch a few of the lessons for free before you actually pay for the course.
Okay, when I finish everything, I'll pay for it.
Okay.
I need it. I need it seriously, because here in Canada, a lot of people get confused easily. You don't know where to go to. You don't know your direction. You'll be doing the certification. All the certification will be with you, but at the end of which you are nobody.
That's it. But I'll tell you something about Canada specifically. Nowhere else in the world does this, but Ontario specifically. The IIBA's headquarters is in Ontario. And for that reason, they have a lot of connections to the businesses in Ontario. So you'll find that they will ask for certifications more than other places. So they do ask for IIBA certifications because they've had a bigger influence in that part of the world than other parts. So I'm just calling that out so that's a part of, you'll find a lot of Ontario business places asking for CBAP that nobody else is asking for. So it might be valuable for you if you're in Canada to do it, right? But other parts of the world is not important. They don't ask for it. So that's one thing to note. And then, so you need to work on that, the practice, so that you can have that in the interviews. And the other thing I want to say, I lost my train of thought there, but what I want to say too is that in Canada, especially Ontario, British Columbia, a little bit of Quebec if you speak French, but there is a big, there's a lot of thrust towards business analysis. They're very aware of a BA role, and there's a lot of jobs, especially around Ontario, for BAs. So I think it's a good, Calgary, British Columbia, Ontario, those places are very big on BA roles. So I think it's a great place for you to be also to get the job. So, you just need to update your resume, get the hands-on practice from the courses. And if you do the courses and you like what you see, you can always consider becoming a member. So you can ask a question live and get the answers, and you can practice with us there. So lots of resources for you.
You mean from the back office club?
Back office club, mm-hmm.
I'll do that, of course. I need it. I have to do it.
Yes, I look forward to you joining, Abby.
I have to do it. In fact, I'll do it next week.
Okay, sir. It's funny.
Then I'll make a request for you to help me rearrange my resume. Is it possible?
We have a consultation for that, but we'll talk about that.
Okay, thank you.
All right, cool. All right, let's see. You're welcome. Who else we got here? Let's see. Zulfa, and let's see who else. Sorry, guys, if I can't see all your hands that are up. I want to see Zulfa right now. Yeah, go ahead, Zulfa. Abiodun, you gotta take your audio off, right? No audio.
Thank you, sorry.
Okay. So, Zulfa, do you want to go ahead?
Hey.
There you are. Hey, how are you? Welcome.
Thank you. I'm glad I'm able to talk to you today. I've been a addicted fan of yours for like 3 years now. And I've been following you back to back.
Thank you.
I've joined a lot of the standards as well.
Mm-hmm.
But this is the first time I will be confident enough to unmute myself to talk.
Yay!
So thank you. I'm a pharmacist from back home, so I would say I'm coming from the healthcare space. With a wealth of experience from getting to Canada, I've been working on transition into business analysis. Mm-hmm. And as I said, I've been following you for 3 years now. So I've watched literally every video on your YouTube page. So I can proudly say I'm a Karaleise fan, and I have good knowledge on your YouTube page, and you really helped me on this journey. However, I've done literally everything I need to do from my own head. Mm-hmm. I've read everything. I've studied Bible. Because I love to read. So I think that's one thing about me that is, I don't know if it's an advantage or disadvantage at the moment. Because I read everything, I listened to everything, and I did the certifications. Mm-hmm. So right now, I've been in the job market for literally 3 months now.
For how much?
When you were speaking in the beginning.
Sorry, you've been in the job market for how much? How long?
For 3 months now, I've been applying.
Okay.
Yes, so I think I'm stuck here right now, and I don't know how to move forward. That's why I joined in today. I said, let me speak to you. What do you advise?
So I'll say something that might not be popular, but to be honest, 3 months is not that long right now. It's taking, unfortunately, it's taking 6 to 8 months to get a job now.
Thanks for the heads up.
So I'm not saying that you shouldn't be like at it, but I just want to set the right expectation. It's a longer time than it used to be. So again, there are people who can get jobs in a shorter time. You just sometimes it's all about luck, but most of the time, people are taking 6 to 8 months to land a new job because of the economy, because of the layoffs, because of all of these factors. So just to give you that, so 3 months is you're still within that range, right? So it's not terrible. It's not terrible yet.
Okay.
But you said you read
It's okay.
everything. You have your certifications. You've studied the BABAC, and you're coming from healthcare. So
Yes.
are you applying to healthcare BA roles only, or are you just applying to whichever roles you want?
Yes. So my main focus is the healthcare roles because I believe I should start from where my strength lies.
Right.
So, but as well, I try to shoot every other place, but I'm much more. I could say 90% of my application goes to the healthcare space.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying you shouldn't apply other places, but definitely you want to focus on that because that would be where you can kind of have better dialogue in the interviews. I would say that because it's healthcare right now, I did a study a couple years ago where the number one employers of BAs were IT, then fintech,
Okay.
then healthcare, then consulting. So I'm not saying that there isn't, there is a lot, but it's like the third most amount of jobs in the BA field, right? So that means that there's just a little bit less for you to choose from. But in any case,
that's one thing I observed as well.
yeah, it's the third highest. The IT, like tech is taking over everything, and then fintech, and then healthcare. So that's just to give you a concept of what the amount of volume is like. Is Annie still here? Annie, are you still here? No.
Yes, I'm here. I'm listening.
I was gonna say, since you're also in the healthcare and you're also looking out for jobs, but you've had some success with getting some calls, although we haven't gotten an offer yet. Is there anything that you've noticed in your interviews as a healthcare person also that you might want to share that might help Zulfa?
So, actually, while I'm listening, what part of healthcare are you like? What's your niche? Like, what is it nursing or
Pharma?
Pharma?
Okay. So usually when I'm doing mines, I notice it is more so IT. Like one of the projects that I'm working on, apart from that, it is an IT based because I'm more familiar in the lab, and so the issues that are happening within the nursing department, the clinical team, and the doctor. So it's mostly the LIS system, the laboratory system. So it's mostly tech that I'm leaning towards in healthcare. So I don't know if they have. I've seen some pharmacy things, but I don't know if like how they base it off of and what they're quite asking for.
Yeah. That's a great, Addie. I'm glad you brought that up because that was kind of where I was going, but I wanted to get somebody who's also in healthcare to comment on that. So even though, like I said, tech is the number one employer, right? But when they're offering jobs for healthcare, it's tech healthcare. Like they're building software to help the healthcare industry, but it's really a tech job kind of, right? So your expertise is going to be helpful as a subject matter expert in pharma, but you're working with technology. You're building the technology to help make that area much more successful. You see what I'm saying? So you need to have they want to make sure that you understand the jargons and the terms from pharma, for example, because you're in pharma, but you're really working with, it's the same kind of BA, right? If you're in functional BA, you're working with tech, developers, you're working with QAs, you're working on a project, you're writing user stories, you're writing BRD. So you really have to make sure you also have that strength also. So you can't only rely on your strength in pharma, but you need to now be able to say, okay, how would I work on a pharma project? You know, with all the tenets of being a BA. And that's why being a BA is kind of universal, right? It doesn't matter what the industry is. The skills that we have applies across industries, but you will have an additional advantage because you have the pharma background. So you can use that in your application process so that you're looking for healthcare jobs. But I don't know if you've noticed that too, when you're looking for healthcare jobs, that it still talks a lot about the technology that you'll be working on. Have you noticed that?
Yes, I noticed that, and I was able to get an interview.
Okay.
Which was my very first one, and I think I actually messed up because being the first interview, I was very nervous. I wasn't even sure I was saying the right things. Yeah, I was asked to write the user story, acceptance criteria, and all those stuff, yes, which I think I was able to do as well. But of course, the confidence isn't so much there. I think I need a bit of support in that aspect as well.
Well, I'll post this thing on my website shortly, which is a LanBA, and I want you to download it so you can practice. So part of it includes getting the confidence, right, to be able to speak, clearly and communicate clearly. So being able to answer these questions, scenario-based questions, and feel like, yes, I know what I'm talking about, so I can speak with this authority in my voice to help them to see you in the role. So that's something you're gonna have to practice a little bit more.
Okay. I'll definitely look into that.
But
at
in
this point.
conclusion, I think even though you're in healthcare, I think doing the things that we talk about on my channel and we talk about the Back Office Club to cement your knowledge of business analysis is what's going to help you to get the job. And then because you have the healthcare background, that will just help to put you a little bit over the other candidates, hopefully. But the strength will be on your business analysis, regardless of the industry that you're doing. And continue to look for healthcare jobs. That's definitely going to be advantageous for you.
Okay. Thank you so much, guys.
You're welcome. Now, because it's Labor Day, we can't go over time, right? We're well over time, but let's keep going. Because most of us in the US and Canada don't have to leave because we have a job. Although, we're probably going to wrap up in a few minutes anyway. Is there any other questions that anybody here wanted to ask? Even on the live, you guys have any questions over here? So Ucho said, project manager is a whole car. The BA makes the car function so it can move from point A to point B. That is true. The project manager is the entire car and we're just trying to make it move. That's right. I agree with that. So somebody asked, back office club, how much is it for registration? Okay, so we have 3 tiers at the back office club. And if you go to backofficeclub.org, you will see that. Go to pricing, you'll see that. So we have a basic package. That's just ability for you to join our stand-ups and also to be participating in one of our real-world project discussions. So we have stand-up twice a week. You join both. And then we have one in-depth hands-on training once per month. So with the twice a week stand-ups, that's where we talk about business analyst topics. I train you on some different topics and you get to ask questions and we have a great time actually there. And we have that twice a week, so you have this touch point that you can always communicate with me. And then we have once a month training with a hands-on project. So right now we're working on a process flow diagram with a real problem from a real place in the UK. And so we're working through that project and we've done the as is and now we're going to do the to be. So if you're a basic member, that cost is $49.99 per month. And you get to join that session every week. And you get to also be a part of the live hands-on. So if you are kind of not sure, you just want to see how it works, you can always become a basic member. It's $49.99 a month for that. And you get to interact, be a part of the live sessions, and do the hands-on project. So we also have another tier, which is our essential plan. The essential plan is for $89.99 a month, and with that you get this. You get to all of the standard. You get everything the basic package gets, but you get an additional training. So we have something we call BA Connect, which is our live training. And then we have another training also for the month that you also join. So it's 2 trainings. So you get 4 hours of stand-up and then 2 hours of training, like hands-on practical training every month. And then in addition to that, you get access to our community chat. You get access to our drive with all our templates and documentation. And obviously you can ask any questions that you want. And we also give you your own email so that you can use that to communicate directly with us. And that's for $89.99 a month. I think it's a very good package. And then we have the professional, which is everything. So you get everything you have in essential. So you get the stand-ups, you get the training. You have an additional training that's just for you also. So you get 3 trainings per month. So that's 3 hours training and 4 hours stand-up. So in the whole month, you get 7 hours of, training time, which is pretty good. You get all the documentation. You get access to our Slack channel where we're having conversation between each other. You get access to our Google Drive with all of our documentation, help files for resumes and all the other stuff that we have there. But you also get access to our tools, which is great. So you want to do hands-on, get into the tools. So you get Jira, you get Azure DevOps, you get, Azure DevOps is optional. You can either do Jira or Azure DevOps. You get Confluence, and you get access to view our Figma files with all of our UI designs, because we do projects where you look at the UI and then write the stories, right? So we have that. And of course, we have a library of case studies that we do for interviews. So you want to see what are some of the questions that they'll ask in the interview. We have a library of case studies that have been given to other people in the interview process that helps you to practice as well. So all the tools, and the difference between our Jira and like a free version is that we have all the projects there with all the user stories and all the epics, and you can get an example of what it should look like. And then you can create your own project with your own stories, and you mention me, I review your stories and tell you if you're going in the right direction or not. So you do that with Confluence as well. So you get access to the tools, full access as a part of your membership, and that amount is $197.99 per month. So again, if you were to pay for these individually, it would definitely add up to more. Plus you get the expertise, plus you get the community, plus you get the hours of training. So I don't think anybody else on the market has this option. So you definitely have a good amount of support to help you land your BA job. So you can find it all on backofficeclub.org. All right, any other questions? Anything else y'all want to talk about before we go? Somebody says, hey, Karaleise, I have a BA apprentice interview tomorrow. Any prep or advice to give? Good luck. No, I'm happy that you have an apprentice, because you don't often find internships or apprentice work as BA, because it's really a middle management job. It's hard for them to trust you to give you all access to their stuff to do a BA, unless they have somebody who's dedicated to training you and you understudy that person. So you get access to an apprentice interview. That's actually pretty good, and I'm happy for that for you. When you show up to the interview, just basic stuff. Make sure that if it's a virtual interview, make sure you're sent a camera. Make sure you have good lighting. Don't have any light sources behind you, people. I'm sorry to say this, but people make very silly mistakes in the interview. Like, you can't see their face. The light is behind them, so your face looks dark. That's like an obvious one to solve really quickly. Make sure the light is in front of you, and don't depend on the light outside, because it could rain. Who knows? It might be a cloudy day. Have a light source. Buy a ring light or something to make sure the light is facing your face and not over your head top, like not an overhead light. You want a light that shines on you so you can be seen. So you can have better presence, so that they can feel more close to you even though it's virtual. So that's one. So just make sure you take care of the mechanics. If you need to join a Zoom call or a Google Meet, make sure you try to log in ahead of time so you don't have to download anything or update anything and spend time fumbling to try to get on there when they're there waiting. So get the technology sorted out. Prepare for the behavioral questions. I have a number of difficult interview questions that is free on my YouTube channel. You can watch those. But if it's an apprenticeship, I don't think they'll ask you some of the more stronger questions. You just need to be aware of what a BA does, how to work with teams, the artifacts that we create, and have a sense of what the BA role is about, because you're an apprentice. They're supposed to be training you, so I don't expect them to give you a very rigorous interview. You just have to be very likable, have some sense of what the BA role is, watch my videos, understand what the different techniques are that we use. And I think that should be enough for an apprentice interview. It shouldn't be too onerous, because they know they'll have to train you. So all of that. Focus more on your likability. I think that would be the best thing for you as an apprentice. All right, great. So we're at the bottom of the hour, a little bit over that. I think we had a great time today, guys. I think I'm going to call it a day today, wrap it up. I'm so happy to have spent time with all of you all today. I look forward to any questions you have. You can always send it to my channel. Go follow me on Instagram at Karaleise. I don't have enough Instagram followers. I also don't post as much, but anyway, go follow me over there too. All right. I'm so happy that you guys were able to spend your Labor Day with me. I know y'all have a lot of labor to do, or some of you going to be resting the rest of the day, but I'm happy that you're here, and I'm thankful, and I look forward to seeing you again in October's session, the first month in October. Looking forward to that. Thank you all very much. Take care. Have a wonderful rest of your day, guys. Bye-bye.